Welcome to my channel, my respected friends and viewers. Few days have gone by, and an event is continuously followed by media. I went through what is being reported, and due to some relevant background information, decided to share my reflections on it. I am referring to the case of Dezi Freeman. Australia's history teaches us that strength does not always come from force, but often from wisdom. In today's vlog, we will explore how engaging Aboriginal elders is not just about honoring culture, it's about creating safer, more connected communities. From reducing youth crime in Victoria to fostering trust between police and locals, we will reflect on why elder led approaches deserve recognition at both community and constitutional levels. So the event took place in Popunka. The tragic core of the story is that on August 26, in the rural town of Popunka, Victoria, police arrived with a warrant to arrest Daisy Freeman for historical sexual offenses at his remote property. In a devastating ambush, two officers, Detective leading Senior Constable Neil Thompson and Senior Constable Vadim D. Watt, were killed and a third seriously wounded. Freeman, who identifies himself as a sovereign citizen, then vanished into the alpine bushland of Mount Buffalo, where he's had a massive head start due to his familiarity with the terrain. Authorities have shut down airspace, deployed armored vehicles, and mobilized hundreds of officers. According to figure, more than 450. Yet rugged weather continues to thwart the search. Meanwhile, Freeman's wife has appealed for peace and urged him to give himself up, a poignant reminder that this is not just a manhunt, but a deeply human story of loss and conflict. Um, why sympathies are divided? Some locals share Freeman's anti authority sovereign citizen views, fostering mistrust of police. According to ABC Wikipedia, his deep knowledge of the land enables concealment and some admiration of his survival skill, according to abcnews.com.au. The sovereign citizen movement frames Freeman as a victim of state overreach rather than criminal. Wikipedia ABC reports. Others are horrified by the killing of officers in cold blood, especially amid rising extremist discourse. The Guardian and Herald Sun reported this. Community grief is deep, and trust is split between empathy for Freeman's view and grief over law enforcement casualties. So, why has the community response so divided? On one hand, Freeman embodied the sovereign citizen skepticism of government, an ideology some locals resonate with, especially in remote areas with historic skepticism of authority. His survival skills and familiarity with the rugged landscape contributes to a kind of folklore hero, but contrast that with the profound grief felt for the fallen officer, both respected and familiarly connected to Victoria's rural law enforcement family. Adding fuel, extremist voices have been amplified through recent March for Australia protests, stirring broader reflections on ideology and allegiance. This tension between seeing Freeman as a victim of authority or a cold blooded killer reflects deep fractures over identity, power, and justice. The division is not just about the man, but what he represents about Australia's relationship to law, order, and community autonomy. Reporting and community perceptions, media emphasizes the sovereign citizen connection, reshaping the narrative around ideology. Balances operational details with emotional response, police tributes, lockdown impacts, wife plea is reported by The Guardian and News.com along with the Australian. Some outlets frame Freeman in sympathetic or sensational light as a bushman under siege. Others condemn sovereign citizen extremism and warn of ideologically motivated threats. Overall, reporting reflects both empathy and alarm, fueling community complexity. Media framing has played a pivotal role in shaping this polarized atmosphere. Outlets widely emphasize Freeman's sovereign citizens' ideology, casting him as either deeply mistrustful or ideologically driven. Reporting blends logistical updates, photos, no fly zones, search progress with emotional elements, such as the heroism of slain officers or community mourning and the wife's tearful plea for Nixon like surrender. Some coverage lean into this bushcraft and rural empathy to humanize him, while other underscore the danger of extremist ideology and the rare violence of targeted police killings in Australia. This contrast in narrative tone not only dominates headlines but also influences public sentiments. Some viewers feel humanity for Freeman, others fear the ideology he embodies. The result, a complex story that defies easy labels, reflecting the border national struggle between individual liberty and collective safety. My perspective, inclusion and ancient law. As someone who has already guided, I'm talking about myself, TAFE students through the courtroom experiences and parallel Aboriginal justice circuits, I have been wondering why is there no inclusion of Aboriginal elders in this crisis? Traditional law among First Nation is rooted in restoration, communal responsibility, and custodianship, values fully recognized in our Constitution. Courts and police already lean on elders in many contexts, particularly juvenile or community matters. Could involving them now help de escalate, offer alternative routes to Freeman surrender, or foster local trust? For example, in Victoria, Aboriginal elder led night patrols significantly reduced youth crime rates by providing guidance, mediation, and trust where police alone could not. This highlights the transformative potential of embedding cultural authority in problem solving, something that Australia's constitutional recognition of Aboriginal elders could further strengthen. In flood resilience, too, elders' leadership could foster stronger community cooperation and accountability than state machinery often achieves. Incorporating Aboriginal mediation might not replace law enforcement, but could complement it, honoring Australia's dual legal heritage and strengthening community cohesion in this process. This is not about denying authority. Rather, it is acknowledging that in some regions, cultural intervention might bridge gap that police cannot. For many elders might carry more influence than an armored vehicle. Constitutional context and rights. Australia's constitution affirm the recognition of Aboriginal customary law, and in many contexts, elders already play critical roles, particularly in remote and regional communities. Meanwhile, the sovereign citizen ideology explicitly rejects state authority, challenging the very premise of societal trust and contract. To navigate this, enforcement should not be blind to the cultural institutions. Instead, police and authorities can seek to work together alongside and not against Aboriginal framework. Looking ahead, historically, Victoria Police has successfully attracted support and cooperation of First Nation elders in programs such as Aboriginal Youth Cautioning Program AYCP and Kuri Night Patrol in Shepparton. And more than that, Ararnent Community Patrol in Alice Spring to de escalate and normalize things. Should this approach be encouraged here again? To conclude, I invite all of us from policymakers to local residents to foster respectful dialogue that includes elders, police, and rural voices. Government should consider formalizing mechanism where Aboriginal elders can mediate or assist in de-escalation efforts during rural standoffs. Alongside this, we must raise awareness of the mental health and extremist risks in isolated areas, not to stigmatize, but to support. Policymakers should embrace trauma-informed approaches in policing, particularly where communities feel disenfranchised. As media consumers, let's encourage balanced storytelling, ones that successfully combine justice with healing context and consequences. This isn't about weakening authority, it's about strengthening its legitimacy by making it inclusive. Only then can incidents like this unite us in grief and responsibility rather than further fracture the trust. Pathway forward. Conclusion. As Australia debates the role of Indigenous recognition in its constitution, it is worth reflecting on practical ways this could influence real life. Recognition must not be symbolic only. It should empower communities and validate the role of elders in shaping safety and justice. Integrating Indigenous wisdom into policing models is not just respectful, it is effective. By bridging divides between police and communities and by embedding trust based approaches into national strategies, we can reflect local values in our broader safety frameworks. Acknowledging and institutionalizing such practices send a powerful message that solution to crime and community well-being must come from both the ground up and the top down. With that comes to my end of my vlog. I hope and look forward to collaboration between the indigenous elders and the police enforcements to come up come out with some sort of a solution which is amicable and acceptable to all. um, Meanwhile, till my next vlog, you take care, stay healthy, and bye bye for now.